And this is Hannah.
Hello.
And we are so excited to share with you all about the Hour of Code. Many of you RSVP'd and told us this is your very first time using Kodable for the Hour of Code, so we are so excited for you. We have been doing this since 2013, so this is our 6th year doing the Hour of Code with Kodable, and we have some exciting new activities for your students. We're going to go over all of that with you today. We're going to go over how to get your class set up, how to get your devices set up. We're going to go over the new activity with you. We're going to cover some of the activities from previous years. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect after the Hour of Code. So immediately following, kind of like some ideas to celebrate what your kids have achieved, share with their families, and then also what you can expect after the Hour of Code if you decide, hey, this coding thing is pretty cool. I want to keep doing it. We've got some tips for you. Hannah's going to share some cool things that you can do with Kodable beyond just your Hour of Code activity. So to get things going, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Hannah. Hannah joined our team this year. She's fantastic. She was working at a charter school here in California as the computer science teacher, then decided to go to Harvard and get her, what was the official degree called?
It was a Master's of Education in Technology Education.
So she is perfectly suited to be telling you all about how to use Kodable in your classrooms. We're so lucky to have her on our team. So without much further ado, we're going to go ahead and get going. So to begin, you all submitted some great questions in your RSVP, and I just want to make sure that we cover all of them. One of my favorite questions was, I am very new to coding, specifically Hour of Code. What kind of computer background do I need to learn it to teach my first graders? Mm-hmm. And you don't really need to have any computer science knowledge to use Kodable, first of all, or to do the Hour of Code. That's the beauty of it. Like, that's why it's so exciting, because the Hour of Code was started by Code.org as an initiative to get kids exposed to computer science, adults exposed to computer science, everyone just trying it for 1 hour for the very first time. So it's very beginner friendly. All of our activities give you everything that you need right there in the lesson plan. So it's completely scripted. You can follow along. If you have no CS background, we're going to give you all of the vocabulary. We're going to give you all of the materials that you'll need. And we even have some, if you really want to learn about the concepts on your own, we have videos and modules where you can learn all about every concept that we teach in Kodable. So, but that's not necessary. Just give it a try. Honestly, the only thing that's required is a growth mindset, and we're all big fans of that here at Kodable. So just get your thinking cap on. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Your kids are going to be making mistakes right along with you. They love it when they like know things. So you know that. So just go into it with an open mind. Be prepared by, maybe testing your devices, making sure that whatever activity you've decided to do works on all your devices. But other than that, there's nothing, that you need to know specifically about computer science to do the Hour of Code. Totally. So with that, I'm going to let Hannah take over. She's going to show you how to get started with Kodable. It's not required that you set up a class in Kodable, but we do recommend it because it's going to make it easier for you going beyond the Hour of Code and also to track student progress and share certificates. So I'm going to let Hannah take over.
Great.
I'm just going to share our screen real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and log us into Kodable.
Awesome.
Do you want to be logged in as yourself, or is it okay if you use mine?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. You guys are seeing how many accounts I have. Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, like Gretchen had just mentioned, you do not need to have a Kodable account set up in order to do the hour of code, but we recommend it for all of the reasons that she had just mentioned. And I'll just show you really quick how easy it is to add a class if that is something you're interested in doing before starting the hour of code. It'll just take a couple minutes. So you can see here we're on the class creation page. I'm just going to click this big blue button that says Add Class. The first step is to name your class. So I'm just going to name it Hour of Code Webinar for now. You can continue, or if you need to add multiple classes, there's also this option here, this blue button. So if you have multiple classes you want to add at once, it's super easy to do that. You can just click the Need to Add Multiple Classes button. For this demo, I'm just going to add one class, so I've pressed Continue. Now it's time to add my students. So I'm just going to add one name per line. You do not need to manually enter all of these names. If you have your students' names saved in some sort of a list or a spreadsheet, you can copy and paste them right here into this area. So if these are my students, I'm going to save them and move on. We've made this step super easy. Your students need a class code to log into Kodable. The class code is sort of like a class password. And we've generated a class password for your class here. You can always change this later, but just to keep it simple, we've given you one to start. So you can just click Continue. That's the code that your students will use to log in. They're customizing our class. So we will just wait a second. Customizing. Awesome. So then we have this option to invite parents to follow progress. This is one of the huge perks of setting up a class before you do the hour of code. This way, if you invite parents to follow progress, as you move forward with Kodable, parents of your students will be able to see what they're learning and how they're learning it. So you can really easily print these invitations for the parents of your students. This will be a letter that you can print off. I wonder if I can show, maybe I can't. But this will be a letter that you can print off and give out to your students to take home. And it's just a little description of what students will be doing with Kodable. So a great way to keep parents informed. But we're all done setting up the class. That was super easy. We're gonna go to our class. And now you're logged into your Kodable dashboard. So those were all the steps you need to take to set up a class with Kodable. Again, it's a great way to be able to track student progress and keep parents informed. Your class code that you created that your students will need to log in is just there at the top. So you'll never lose it. It's right there, front and center. I do just want to mention quickly that classes have a cap of 50 students, but you can have unlimited classes even with the free teacher account. So there's really an unlimited number of students that you can set up with a Kodable account. We just did a little demo of 5, but you can have unlimited since there is unlimited classes with Kodable. So now that you've gotten all set up with your teacher account, I'm going to pass it back off to Gretchen, and she'll go over how to get your students set up with Kodable and the Hour of Code.
Yeah, yay. Okay, so I just want to let you guys know, just reiterate what Hannah said. You do not have to set up a class. I'm going to show you how you can do it with and without a class that's already set up. But it is beneficial to have your class set up ahead of time. Now, I just want to quickly pause for questions in case anyone has anything. We've got on the side over here, there's a little chat window. You guys feel free to share questions, share tips, anything that occurs to you while we're going through all of this. We've got Bree. I'm sure many of you have met Bree or heard from Bree at some point in your lives with Kodable. She's here responding to all of your questions. So if you have anything, please feel free to post them there. It looks like we're okay for right now, no questions. But I'm going to go ahead and go through how to get set up. So I'm going to go to kodable.com/hour-of-code. And this is our Hour of Code homepage. So basically everything that we're going to talk about today is accessible from this page. So to start off, this is how your students are going to get set up. So we're going to go to Kids, Start Here. And if you're using a class code, you can enter it here. Or if you want your kids to be able to log in without needing a class code, they can do that here. So play without saving. And that's going to create an anonymous profile for them. They can play and then they can leave later. They will have the option to write down their code to enter at home if they want to continue playing at home. But for the most part, it's basically unsaved information. So that's useful if you don't have the time or don't want to set up a class code or an account with Kodable. If you do have a class code, I'm just going to go ahead and use the class code that Hannah set up. It's this one. All right, next. Okay, I'm going to play with myself. Alrighty, so it's super simple. Your students will see the roster pop up in front of them. We've got 2 new fuzzes. So we're going to start by building our first fuzz. So this is blue fuzz. Adding all the properties of our new fuzz. Okay, and now we've landed on Fuzztopia, and this is the home of the Fuzz family. Your kids are going to unlock their mission control, but we're actually going to go back to Fuzztopia. So we're going to click the home, and we want to go to the Hour of Code hut. So it's right here. This is where we can find our Kodable Hour of Code activities. So we've got 3 here to choose from. We're going to talk about the Maze Maker Challenge and the Fuzz Builder Challenge later, but we're going to start out with the beach cleanup activity. So before I get into this activity, I want to make sure to address some of the questions you guys had about setting up devices. So we're in the activity right now, but I'm logged in on the web. And you guys saw how to do that. It's super simple, but you should try this on your computers that you're going to be using at school before it's a classroom full of kids. There are sometimes URLs that need to be whitelisted. Perhaps your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your privacy settings won't allow you access to your firewall. Won't allow access into Kodable. So be sure to double check that everything is working. If you have any issues when you're trying it out for the first time, you can email us at support@kodable.com, and someone from our team can help you through all of that. Make sure it's all up and running for you. And just double check that it's all ready to go before you get your kids in the classroom the day of. The other thing is, if you're going to be using Kodable on iPads, the setup process is the same, like the student login process is the same. The only difference is you're going to want to make sure you have the latest version of Kodable installed on your iPads ahead of time. Previous versions did not have this activity. They did not have the Hour of Code hut, so you need to make sure you're updated to the latest version before the day of. Other than that, it's super simple. You can enter your student your class code, or you can use the play without saving option on any device. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and go into the activity. Oh, wait, we do have a question here. So someone in our RSVP link asked, how can I use Kodable for 2 grade levels without needing a login or password for each individual student? I'll be doing the Hour of Code presentation style, where I have 1 grade level, which each with their own iPad at the same time. So it sounds like you're going to be sharing devices a little bit, maybe 2 students per device. So what I would suggest is using, if you want to set up a class, you can. We went through how easy that is, but if you decide you don't want to, use that play without saving option. That is available on the iPad. And what I would suggest is having kids take turns being the driver, doing a little bit of pair programming, which is just 2 kids on a device working together to solve problems. And one will be the driver and one will be, the assistant. And then after they've completed a level, then they can switch. That works really well with groups of kids. Or if you have, it doesn't say what grades you're going to be working with, but if you have kids, say you have, kindergartners and 5th graders, or if you have a large, age gap between the 2 grades you're working with, it's really fun to have one be the teacher and one be, the learner. We get a lot of, during the Hour of Code, we get a lot of schools who send us, exciting photos and videos of their 5th graders teaching their kindergartners, which is just so much fun.
Yep.
So those are a couple options.
Yeah, I'll quickly add. Gretchen will go over the activity in just a second, but there is an unlimited number of levels that you can play with this beach cleanup Hour of Code activity, so you don't need to worry about one student running out of levels if the other student is the driver. If they're sharing a device, there's unlimited levels, so that won't be a problem.
Yep. All right, so we're going to hop into the beach cleanup activity real quick. So this is a quick video. I've linked to these videos in the agenda that I sent out to you all. We're going to add the links to the video description on YouTube. Oh, it's already there. It's in the video description on YouTube. If you want to play these ahead of time for your kids to make sure that they know what they're getting into, or if you want to instruct them on how to play the beach cleanup, you can do that also. But these are a quick video from Hannah, just walking them through how to play and what concepts they're going to be learning. I'm going to skip it for now because you guys can watch it. So we're going to hit play. Now, these little guys here are our sea creatures that we're trying to rescue from all the garbage on the beach in Fuzztopia. And when your students earn enough points, so when they recycle enough items, so if they recycle 12 items, 30 items, or 50 items, then their little sea creature friend can come and live on Fuzztopia on their beach. Super cute. We love them. Our designer, Greg, did an amazing job.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and play the game. So there's 3 difficulty levels to choose from. There's easy, which gives them one reward per piece of item or per piece of trash. And that's going to include sequencing and conditions. There's medium, which doubles the rewards per item. And that includes sequencing, conditions, and loops. And then there's hard, and that includes sequencing, conditions, loops, and functions. There is a video for each of these difficulty levels that explains the concepts that the kids are going to be doing. I would suggest starting everyone at easy, and then if they feel they're ready for something more difficult or more challenging, encourage them to bump up to medium or hard. We're going to start on easy. Yay. So here's Fuzz Buzz. Great. So we need to draw the path for Blue Fuzz to follow to collect all of the garbage. Here's our tutorial video explaining what sequencing and conditions are. This is from Hannah. Again, this is linked in the video description on YouTube. We're going to skip it for right now. So I need to draw a path that lets me get to all of these little recycling symbols. Okay? So, and I cannot draw through these items. I can't draw through the surfboard. I can't draw through the sandcastle, and I can't draw through my creatures. So what I'm going to do, I think my best option is to start down here. What do you think, Hannah? Start up here or start down here?
I love it because it's a little tricky, even for us too. So it's a good.
I think starting down here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so Gretchen is just drawing the path that will connect all of the recycling symbols and then get to the end. It'll show up with the little start button and finish button. Those tiles will automatically appear when you've clicked on any of the squares on either side of the columns.
Okay, so I'm going to hit play. Great. So now I need to program my fuzz to get through this maze to the end and recycle all the trash around our little sea creature friend, our little seal friend here. So I'm going to go forward and up and to the right. But it looks like I need to edit my maze because I missed one of my recycling symbols. So I'm going to try again. And this time I'm going to use a condition. And a condition is if-then logic. So it's saying if this tile is pink, then I want to go right. So I can use conditions to make turns. I can use conditions as exceptions to a rule, like in programming. So I'm going to say forward, up, if pink, then go right. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go right. I hope I have enough space.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think I do. Okay, let's try again. Let's see what happens.
Woohoo! Let's go!
Well, yep. So you guys can see I ran out of space here. So this is, again, a great way for our kids to be practicing design thinking, critical thinking skills, and problem solving to complete their activity. So why don't we try this? I'm going to edit my maze. I'm going to draw this way. I'm going to erase all of this. All right. What do you think, Hannah? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't know.
Too many. All right, let's see here. Down, right down. Think we can make it?
I don't know.
It's pretty tough. Let's see here. I'm gonna try this one.
We could also show how, if there is a level that seems so hard, how to refresh it and find a new one.
I'll try this one and then we'll see about doing that. Okay, so down. Nope, I think that's too many. All right, we're gonna try getting a new one and see. Okay, so we're just gonna hit play again. Choose easy. I think this one's doable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go forward, up, down, to the right, down, up,
All the way. Yep. And then. Awesome.
Yeah, okay. I think this is for sure gonna work. We just need our condition here. So if green, then we're gonna go to the right. Okay, so let's go forward, up. Oh, no, we're gonna have to go back down. If green, go right. Nope, down, up, right. Okay, I think that this is it. What do you think, Hannah?
I think it looks good.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Woohoo! Let's go!
So then each time the fuzz rolls over the recycling symbol, it will pick up the trash and free the sea creatures and then move on to the next level.
So we got 3 items. And we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna try one more so you guys can see this. So this one is gonna go down. And then I'm gonna go up and down.
So So you can see when Gretchen is drawing the path, there's a lot of different possible solutions. So you can encourage your students to get creative, try multiple options. Just because one student would solve it one way and another student would solve it a different way doesn't mean there's one right or wrong answer, which is great. They can test out multiple possible solutions.
Yeah, if I wanted to, I could have gone straight here down to this and then down over here and then back. There's so many different options. Okay, so I went down, over, up, down, to the right. Okay, I think that's it. You think that's it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Woohoo! Let's go!
Awesome. So I have 6 items recycled. I need to get a couple more and I can unlock the little seal to come and live on Fuzztopia with my fuzzes. So I'm going to just pause and see if anybody has questions here about the activity. It looks like...
Yeah, so we have one question that says, from Lauren, it says to play online, they'll have to use a browser. So just to reiterate that, if you are using an iOS device, you can use the Kodable app downloaded from the App Store. But if you are using any other type of device, like a computer, you would want to use a web browser. And again, you can go to the Students Play button on our Hour of Code page to find the easy link to the activity. So yes, if you're playing online on a browser, you'll go to the Hour of Code site and play straight from there, not from the app.
And one thing to clarify is that so the beach cleanup activity and the Hour of Code activities are available on the web year round. They are always there. You can always go to kodable.com/hour-of-code and get to these activities. They are not available year round on the iPad. So after December 20th, the beach cleanup activity is going away on the iPad, and you won't have access to it. But if you log in on the web, then it will be available year round. So if you guys are doing your Hour of Code in January, then that is the method that I would use to log in. If you want to use Kodable for your Hour of Code on the iPad, you can definitely do that. We do have Hour of Code activities that are not the beach cleanup, but the beach cleanup will not be available after December 20th on the iPad. It will be available on the web. Okay, great. So I think that shows, do you want to do one with a loop and a function, or do you think we are okay?
I think it's okay. Just to say again, when your students choose the different level of difficulty, they have an option to watch a tutorial video. They don't have to, but those videos will pop up whenever they switch their difficulty level, and it demonstrates with examples from the game exactly how to do the different types of levels, how to use condition tiles like Gretchen used, how to use a loop, and how to use a function. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, I don't know how to explain how to use a condition tile to my students, they have an option to watch that video. And I'm about to go over our lesson plan with you so you can see exactly how easy it is to explain these different coding concepts from Hour of Code.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to see how loops and functions will be used in the game, you can play yourself, of course, or you can watch those tutorial videos. It explains everything.
Yep. I'm going to quickly address one of the questions that we've gotten about this. So one question that we had was, someone was asking, why isn't it working? My maze won't let me hit play. It's muted. It's grayed out. And you want to make sure that you're going directly to your recycle symbol. So if I were to do this and try and draw through my turtle here, that does not work. That's going to see, the program is going to see that as an incomplete maze. So what you want to do is draw around them so that you can connect all the parts of your maze. And that's another way you could go. That's how the program's going to see that it's a completed maze. These guys are working as obstacles to make it a little bit more challenging. Now, the other question that I've gotten is, okay, my recycling symbols are all connected, but I don't have a start and end to my maze. So if I were to erase this, right, and I just started drawing here, Kodable senses when you draw a path on either the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the maze. So it's going to automatically create your start tile. And when I connect this to the end, to the right-hand side here, it's going to automatically make my end tile. So if I wanted to move that, I can move my end all around. Anything that appears in this right-hand column or this left-hand column is going to be either a start or an end.
Great.
Yeah, so that's covering the activity. I'm gonna let Hannah take over and go over the lesson plan with you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Gretchen. So I'm going to dive into showing you the lesson plan that we've created to go along with the beach cleanup activity. Please continue to write in questions if you have any throughout the description of the lesson plan. We're happy to answer them. So I am finding the lesson plan on the same website, our Hour of Code website that we just accessed the game from. So everything is in one place. We're going to go to the Kodable Beach Cleanup activity, and I'm going to click on the orange View Lesson Plan. This is linking to our lesson plan from our Kodable dashboard, but again, you do not need to have a Kodable account in order to access this lesson plan. It's available for everyone. So this is the lesson plan. Sorry. Gretchen, will you help me find my mouse up here? Oh, yeah. There we go. Thank you. So this is the Beach Cleanup with Kodable lesson plan. It's organized the same way that our other lesson plans are, but if you haven't seen those plans before, that's okay. Here is just an overview of what you can find in the lesson. So we always start out with our objectives, what students will be able to do, and the standards that they accompany the objectives. Then we go over a list of the lesson materials. Now, I've tried to include absolutely everything you could need in this lesson materials list, but there will also be a few links throughout the lesson plan if you don't want to download all the resources at the start. But I will just point out that all of these different worksheets are linked directly here from the lesson plan. So this lesson comes with different unplugged worksheets for students to work on, the Hour of Code certificates that you can print off when students are done, as well as all of those beach cleanup tutorial videos that we have been talking about. We go over the vocabulary, and then we dive into the direct instruction. Now, for our lesson plan, we've scripted out what you could say in order to introduce the Hour of Code and this activity. Of course, if you don't want to follow this script, that is completely okay. We just want to have this here in case you are looking for some extra support. So it starts with an introduction to the Hour of Code, and then an introduction to the beach cleanup activity, specifically why ocean life and ocean health is important, with a little think, pair, share. We've included some different videos and articles here if you want to set up more of a context for your students about why protecting marine life from pollution is an important problem to tackle. So these are here for you and the different grade levels that we recommend for those resources. Now we dive into the beach cleanup activity itself. We script out different ways to introduce the activity, as well as link all those videos that you would find in the actual activity. They're linked here in the lesson plan as well. So again, you can introduce the different difficulty levels. You might say if you're just teaching like a 4th grade class, you might recommend your students all start with medium or hard levels, or if you're teaching multiple grades, we have all of these, the different videos here. So you can kind of judge what level your students should start at. There's a couple lesson tips throughout. One recommendation I have is if you do have a projector, maybe walking through one level together, kind of like you just saw Gretchen do on the webinar, just kind of going through the activity, projecting it up on a screen. If you have that, might help kind of set the stage for your students. Then there's an optional group brainstorm. This is an option. We've had some people write in asking if we have an unplugged option for this lesson. So the activity itself is plugged in, but an unplugged option is to do this group brainstorm. So these are, I'll just click on one example. These are different worksheets that we've put together that help students brainstorm why ocean and ocean life is important, different things that might cause harm to ocean life, and then some sort of brainstorm around how technology can be used to solve this problem of ocean pollution. And then some different creative options for them to draw or describe what they could invent in order to solve the problem of ocean pollution. So let me find my lesson again. Oops, just go back there. There we go. Oop. So again, that was linked just directly in the lesson plan as you made your way down into the optional group brainstorm. And then finally, the lesson wraps up with a little debrief, as well as having students fill out their code at the bottom of the worksheet so that they can, if you have set up a class with Kodable, they can take that parent code home and their parent can look at the mazes that they've created and see their progress as you move forward with Kodable. So there's little tips down here for how to send that home. So that is an overview of the lesson plan. I just want to emphasize that this plan can be used for any grade level. We've broken down all the different options for like K through first, second and third, fourth and fifth, when it comes time to differentiate for the grade level. So there's one lesson plan, but modifications for how to use it with different grades.
Cool.
Awesome. So I am going to step aside, and then Gretchen is going to dive into some of our other Hour of Code activities that are available from our Hour of Code page, in case you want something different from the beach cleanup activity.
Yeah, so if any of you guys follow our blog, I did a post a couple weeks ago about 4 ways you can do the Hour of Code, one including our beach cleanup, but also one of our most popular activities, which is our maze maker. It's similar to the beach cleanup in that students are going to be creating mazes, but we give them prompts. So I'll go ahead and open the lesson for you to view that online. This is a K-5 activity, and depending on the age or the grade level that you're working with, there are prompts within the maze maker activity to create different shapes that are Common Core aligned, so with a math standard. So there's a kindergarten shape, there's a first grade shape, a second grade shape, and if a student completes all of them, then they like beat the entire activity. So you can let kids, even at a kindergarten level, start out with this and see how far they go. Same with a fifth grader. If you want to let them start out, they're going to get an easy shape, and then it's going to get more and more difficult and challenging for them. This is one of our most popular activities. It's great for design thinking, and every single maze that they draw, just like in the maze maker, when they draw this maze here, just like in the beach cleanup activity, what they draw a maze, then they have to test it and they have to program it. So it's not just draw a shape, it's draw a shape and then program your fuzz to go through that shape. It's really fun. The kids can decorate however they want to, make their, to customize their maze and add character to it. But it's, a fun, self-guided activity for your kids to do. And then another option is our Build Your Own Fuzz activity. Again, this is another student-driven activity, and what they do, they're given a video prompt that says, has them think about a character or think about themselves or think about, an imaginary character that they know of that they want to create, and what character traits or what physical traits make that character who they are, and then they can create that character as a fuzz. So this comes with a graphic organizer to design their fuzz on paper, and then you can go into the Kodable game and start creating your fuzz. All of the instructions that you need are included in this lesson here. Again, it's a pretty self-guided activity, but if you want to take some of it offline and have kids use the graphic organizer, you can. Another option that people love is our introduction to programming. This is our very, one of our, I guess you could call it classic Kodable lessons, our code lessons. There has a K to 5 option. So there's an option for every single grade level, K to 5. You would just select the grade that you want. So I'm going to select 2nd grade, and it's going to pop up the lesson plan here designed for a 2nd grade class. And this activity does have a really great unplugged bit. So if you don't have devices for the hour of code, no worries. This would be the lesson plan I would suggest for you, because what you're going to do is work together as a group to program a robot, and I say robot in quotes because you're going to choose either a volunteer student, or maybe you have a room parent or another teacher, or you can even be the robot. You're going to program that robot to walk forward, turn around, and jump. And this activity is scaled depending on the grade level that you're working with. And in our direct instruction piece, we walk you through how to do this unplugged activity together off screen. And there's also, it's in the guided practice activity. And there are Kodable levels that go along with these lesson plans. They're prescribed levels that go along. You can assign those to your class, or if you are not working with a Kodable class code, like you haven't set up a class for your students, then you can still use that play without saving option. Just put your kids onto Kodable, use the play without saving option, and then they can go and play. They're going to be introduced to sequencing the first section of levels in Kodable, and that's what we're going over in this activity. And then there's a quick check for understanding. So this is a really great introduction to programming, an introduction to the hour of code, and an introduction to Kodable and what it means to program. This would be my recommendation if anyone's looking for a more guided activity where they're doing some more instruction, or if they're looking for an unplugged activity. This would be my go-to. Yeah, I think that's all. Oh, so one last one that is my favorite that I'm just going to share with you guys is we have several to choose from here. If you've been using Kodable for a while and you've got students who are pretty advanced, they're working through, you're working through a progression this unit, and there's certain concepts you want to cover. We have an hour of code activity for each of our grade level concepts. But another one that I love is our Women in Tech activity. It's the 3rd to 5th grade project, and it's done over 3 class periods. And it's more of like a research activity where kids are learning about women in technology, famous women in technology, and then writing about them and talking about some gender dynamics within the tech sector. So that's a pretty cool lesson also. And there's several others here. I mean, you guys can see we've got dozens to choose from, but those are some that I wanted to be sure to highlight. Do we have
I've been looking,
any questions?
I don't think I see any that have popped up that Bree has not taken care of.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Bree. Okay, so then I guess we'll just go on to what to expect after the hour of code. So if this is your first time doing the hour of code, it's your students' first time programming, it's a very exciting day. It's an exciting day if they've done it before, but it's very exciting if it's their first time. It's going to be high energy. There's going to be a lot of exciting things happening. So I want to, just tell you to lean into that, enjoy it, soak it up, because I know you guys are always looking for ways to engage your students. This is one of the best ways to do it. It's speaking their language or using technology, but it's also introducing them to a way of thinking that sometimes we miss in our 21st century lives, where we're just consuming all of this information, using technology every minute of every day, but not really thinking about what goes into creating that technology. So this is a great opportunity to do that with your students. Have those conversations with them, and then afterward, celebrate everything that they've achieved. Recognize, if there was a student who was really struggling, maybe to overcome a tough level, and then they did it, recognize them. If there were kids who were really working together, pair programming and doing a great job, recognize them. We have certificates for you to give out to your students. They're here on our Hour of Code page. You enter your email address. We're going to send you this empty certificate for you to print out, and you can, write student names in. Or if you have a class set up in Kodable on your Kodable dashboard, we're updating the dashboard this week with the option to have pre-filled lessons. So whatever student profile names you put in, it's going to pre-fill their names here for their certificate. Then you can just print off all of them and give them to them. So they're going to already have their information on them. It'll save you a ton of time writing student names in. And then be sure to share, if students create mazes or if they create characters during the Hour of Code, you can share that with their family. So that's another great reason to have an account set up and have a class set up, because I can invite parents to connect with my class right here. And I know my parents' email address. I'm going to invite them and I'm going to send them an invitation to join the class. It's going to send them an email just saying, hey, Hannah has invited you to follow Gretchen's progress in Kodable. Here's the link to do that. They can follow progress for free if they decide that they want to, like, say you guys do the Hour of Code in December, but you guys aren't planning on continuing with coding beyond that. And parents, say their kids are really into it. They have the option to continue with a parent account at home, and they get that information when you send this invitation to them. It is optional. It is not something that's required to follow progress, and it's a pretty cool way to help their kids get more exposure to computer science, to coding through Kodable without interfering with what you're doing at school, because it is totally different levels. It's a totally different experience in the at-home version. The other way that you can send creations home is, say, I had created, it's going to show up here. No mazes. I'm going to go to one of my classes that does have mazes. So let's see here. I think we've got a student in here that has classes. Yeah. So here we can see a maze that one of my students created. And I want to print that and send it home to their family. So this is going to create a quick little handout. Let me see if I can share this with you. It's a handout that you can send home with your students that's going to let them see the maze that their child created. So I'm going to share this with you. Here it is. So here you can see this is the little handout that you can send home with kids. And again, it's got information if they do want to continue at home. There's information about how to do that. Great.
Yeah.
So the last question that I wanted to be sure to address that we got in our RSVP form was, somebody asked, and I love this question, how do I invest and promote to the outside community, i.e. parents, like getting them involved? So a great opportunity with the Hour of Code, since it's such an exciting day and it's such an exciting time, is to do a family code night. A lot of the schools who use Kodable do this. I love seeing the photos because they're just so precious, but it's a great opportunity to get parents involved, let them know about what's happening at your school community that you are doing, because parents, I don't know if you guys know this, but 90% of parents want their kids learning about computer science. They know it's important for their future, but they really are not sure like how they as parents can support their kids. So this is a great opportunity for you to say, hey, we're doing this at school. Come and see all of the learning that's happening. And a family code night's a great way to do that. We have a post on our blog from a couple of years ago a fantastic teacher who's been doing the Hour of Code as long as we have, wrote a nice blog post about how he did his family code night. I've seen other communities do it. A great way to boost attendance is to offer free pizza. I've learned that
Everyone loves free pizza.
Right, everyone loves free pizza. So 100% attendance is one of the claims from a group that did free pizza. So that's really exciting. So that's a great way to, if your school is willing to invest in getting your parent community involved in coding, that's a great way to do it. But then in addition to that, there's also, sending home the materials like we just went over. So I'm gonna let Hannah quickly go over some things you can do beyond the Hour of Code.
Yes. I want to make sure we don't run out.
Yeah, I don't want to run out of
time.
I'll let you take over that.
Thank you. Yeah. So what I'll say is, on your Kodable, the teacher dashboard. Should I open it back up? Do you think? Okay, cool. Let's do this. I'm going to reshare my screen, just so you can see. Great. So, great. So on your teacher dashboard that we've been showing before, I just want to point out that there is so much rich information on this dashboard. If after the Hour of Code, you're interested in learning more about Kodable, you want to use it in your classroom, you're not quite sure where to start, your teacher dashboard is full of awesome information for you. So I'm just going to point out a couple things. Really quick, if you have questions about your dashboard or anything Kodable related, there's always this little yellow speech bubble in the bottom right-hand corner. That is a direct chat to me. So if you have questions about Kodable, please feel free to reach out, since I know this is going to be pretty fast. So I just want to draw your attention to the teacher guide. If you are interested in learning more about what Kodable teaches, the actual concepts it covers, as well as all the different worlds. There's 3 worlds in Kodable. A lot of people aren't aware of some of these later worlds for the higher grades. So this guide goes over everything with the game, as well as how to use Kodable in your classroom, how to teach with it, and different recommendations for structuring lessons if that's something that you are looking for. So again, that Kodable field guide on the dashboard is a great place to start. Also on the dashboard in the upper left-hand corner, we have our resource center. If you haven't checked out the resource center, I highly recommend you do so. We have answer keys for the first levels in Smeeborg, the first world that students will play in Kodable, as well as different guides that go over all the coding concepts, videos for you, and classroom materials. So those are just two resources that I recommend starting with. There are a lot of other tabs here at the top that I'm not going to dive into right now. I want to make sure we have time for questions, but I recommend giving those a look. It's different ways that you can kind of construct your class, control the pacing of the levels if you choose to move forward with Kodable.
So Hannah, if their Hour of Code goes really well, say the next week they want to do a follow-on lesson.
Yeah.
Where should they start? What would be their first step?
Yeah, so if the Hour of Code goes really well and you'd like to move forward with Kodable, if you have this class code, your students will be all set up to start coding with Kodable right off the bat. They would just need to enter their class code either in the app or on the web at game.kodable.com. The first level that they will see is, I'm in the assignments tab right here. The first level they will see is 1, 2, 3 role in sequence sector. And I just want to say for these level assignments, all students will be recommended to start with this first level, regardless of their grade or their age. They're all going to start in the same place to make sure they build that foundational knowledge. So if you just want them to jump into it, you can have them log into Kodable and it will automatically start them on this first level. Now, if you want to see what that level is all about, you can go to what is called teacher demo mode here on the left. Teacher demo mode is Kodable unlocked, so you can see everything your students see in the game without ever leaving your dashboard. So you can log into teacher demo mode and play that first level that your students would play as well. And that's where we recommend starting.
And if they want to support this like student activity, these levels with a lesson, what lesson goes with these?
Yeah, so in the, do you want to point something else out?
Maybe go from their class page.
Oh,
It's a
great.
little bit easier to navigate.
No
that way.
problem. So if you've chosen your class, you can go to your lessons tab. The lessons tab is going to map out all the different lessons that accompany the game levels in Kodable. So for this introduction, if you're like, I want to do my first lesson after the hour of code, you can go to Unit 1 and go to the very first lesson, Introduction. This lesson is available for everyone, whether you have a free teacher account or a paid account. And this would be a great follow-up lesson to the hour of code. It kind of introduces computer science, what programming and a programmer is, kind of gives some basic vocabulary like sequence. And then at the bottom, it shows you the first level of Kodable that accompanies the introductory lesson. So that would be a great place to start. Again, I found it from going to my lessons tab and just clicking on the very first introductory lesson.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we're about out of time, and I just want to take this time to let anyone ask questions if they have them here in the chat window. Let's see. I'm going to run through some of the questions that we got, see if we answered all of them. So, we covered. Oh, someone asked, will kids get certificates? We covered that. You can access the certificates on the Hour of Code page. How many levels? It's unlimited levels. If you have a Kodable subscription already through your school, you can access all of this just like we've laid out here. If you're on a free plan, again, you can access all of it just like we've laid it out here. It does not matter whether you're on a free plan or a paid plan. This is accessible from the Hour of Code page, so the code.org/learn page. Kodable is listed there, but again, if you're planning on using Kodable, I would suggest just going to kodable.com/hour-of-code. One question that we got that we needed a little bit more context to answer was how to motivate a child who doesn't want to think during the coding. And I think that this could be, Hannah and I went back and forth actually quite a bit on what this could possibly mean. And we had several ideas, maybe that, kids a little bit afraid to make a mistake. That's something that I often see. Hannah was thinking maybe they're, overachieved and they're a little bit, maybe bored and need to be challenged a little bit more. This is something that I don't think is specific to the Hour of Code. So we've put together a quick poll. If this is something that you think you'd be interested in learning more about, I'm going to put the link to the poll. We are considering doing a webinar on this specific activity. So I'm just going to pull up that link and post it in the video description below. If it's something that you want to do, go ahead and click on that poll and let us know, yes or no, if it's something you want to learn more about. Are there any other questions, Hannah? You could take while I'm pulling this up.
Yeah, not too many others. There was just one question, will this be suitable for ELA learners? I do just want to emphasize that the actual levels for the beach cleanup activity, as well as the maze maker and the fuzz builder, it's not necessary to be able to read at all. A lot of those activities, or all of them, are designed to be accessible for pre-reader or ELA students, but the tutorial videos that we have are in English, so that's just something to be aware of. But if you have ELA students, I definitely recommend giving the beach cleanup, the maze maker, and the other Hour of Code activities a try. They're designed to be able to use. You can draw the mazes and do the coding without needing to know English or be a reader at all. So that's just one thing to point out. Let's see if there were any others. Gretchen is just posting a survey about the webinar for how to motivate students with coding. So again, if you're interested in exploring that some more, definitely click on that. Yeah, amazing. Okay, I think we touched on all the other questions. If any other questions come up, please write into us, support@kodable.com. Again, there was a little bubble on your teacher dashboard. That goes straight to me, so happy to answer any other questions you may have leading up to the Hour of Code.
Yay, thank you so much for watching. We've really enjoyed all of this. Again, we're so excited for the Hour of Code. Please tweet us, send us all of the videos and pictures and everything that you capture during the week of, if you're able to. We love seeing that stuff. Honestly, we live for this week, so it's so exciting for us. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.